Hello and welcome. Today we're going to take a look at how to tear down the iRobot Roomba 10 Max station so we can replace the suction motor inside the station. I actually have two of them. One makes a pretty strange noise while the other one, as you just heard, sounds normal. I want to figure out what's causing that difference. I also have two defective robots with their own issues. But as you heard, the one on the left doesn't sound so great. So today we'll see how to replace the motor. I recommend removing everything first, the water tanks as well as the dust bag. The first step is to take out the screws shown on the back. That's the very first thing. And in general, I recommend keeping track of the screws since some are different sizes. Once that's done, you can pull off the top cover. It's a bit tricky, as you can see here. I recorded it with sound so you can hear how hard it is to pull off. That's really the trickiest part. Here's a slow motion view so you can better understand how the lid is held in place and where it's attached. I'm not sure if my method of pulling it off is the best one. This is just a quick video I've been meaning to make for a while. I'll probably make a better version later. But here you can at least see where the clips are and maybe find a gentler way than I did. After removing the top cover, the next step is to take off the side panels. These are screwed in at the top. After you remove the screws, the panels are simply hooked in at the bottom. Those bottom clips are what I broke because I thought you had to push them from underneath the station. Don't do that, it's unnecessary. The side panels come off easily once unscrewed. When that's done, on one side of the station you'll see the main board, and underneath that the power supply PCB. On the other side is the suction motor, which we want to remove. I probably would do things in a slightly different order now, but I'll show you what I did first. I started by trying to remove the motor. There are some recessed screws. I marked one in blue, but there are several. One of these screws also holds the dust bag mechanism in place, preventing you from pulling the drawer out completely. That's what that separate screw is for. It holds that little pin. Once you've unscrewed everything, you might think the motor comes right out. But it doesn't, because of the wiring on the other side. The issue is this thick red and white cable at the top. It's held in place by cable management and keeps the motor from moving, so you need to free up that cable. It's attached to the power supply PCB. I'll probably cover this in another video or a bit later here. In my case, I decided to loosen the entire black box that holds the power supply PCB. As you can see, I had already unplugged some cables. To move the box, you also need to disconnect several plugs from the main board. Definitely do that because otherwise you won't be able to move it at all. And make sure you note where each plug goes. That's important, since there are many connections for things like the mop cleaning unit underneath. Document them well. Once you've loosened the black box, the housing for the power supply PCB, you can free up the cable for the suction motor. That gives you enough slack to lift the motor out. So that's a big step forward. Now, how do you get the motor out of its housing? There's a rubber seal you need to remove first. After pulling that out, you can slide the motor out of the plastic casing. Then you need to disconnect the plugs. To do this, press on a small latch. If you see it in person, it's obvious. I've marked the little pressure point. Press it and the plug comes off. Now you have the suction motor in your hand and can examine it more closely. I might make a separate video about that later. That's pretty much the process. I'll try to reassemble the station afterwards. Like I said, I have two Roomba 10 Max stations with various issues. One of them is now working fine and the other one will probably be used for another troubleshooting video. Finally, here's a quick look at the power supply PCB. Normally, you don't need to mess with it, unless the motor problem lies there. I'll probably cover the underside of the station in more detail later. Thanks for watching, I hope this was helpful. See you next time. Bye!